when we talk about JVM, we'll talk more on that aspect. But for now, what I want to use to run the IDE I would like to use to create my Java program is something called the netbeans. So if you don't have the netbeans installed in your system, okay, I'm going to show you what to do first. So the first thing to do to be able to use Java or to make a Java environment variable is to go back online and search for Java, Java JDK. Just type Java JDK and click enter. So it's going to bring up all this documentation for you. Just click on the one that says Java SC download from Oracle's technology. Okay, so when you do that, it's going to open up a new page for you, and in that page you'll be able to download the JDK of your type. Just make sure if your system is 32-bit operating system, you should ensure that you download the one of 32-bit. If it is 64, just get the one of 64, and be careful not to get the one of Windows if you are using the Mac OS or Linux operating system. So make sure you download the one that is suitable for your own operating system. Alright, so you can see JDK download right here, then just click on JDK download and then the program gets into your system. So for the sake of the class, I'm going to go ahead to click it, but I already have JDK installed in my program. So when you click on JDK download, you see Java SC download, but right here you can check the documentation for what you want. So here I have JDK, this is for Linux 64-bit, then I have another Linux bin, also have for Windows 64-bit, and then so just click on the one that is peculiar to what you want to download and just get it on. Okay, so if you don't really see 32-bit in this format, because I'm not seeing 32-bit here, actually I'm using 32-bit, but if you don't really see 32-bit, you can go back online where you had your Java SC Java development environment. So what you do is Java JDK 32, Java JDK 32-bit, and click enter. So wait for that to load. Okay, it's coming up. That was pretty fast. So you see Java Development Kit 32-bit. Click on it. Okay. So now you have your Java Development Kit for 32-bit, and you see the big button that says free download. So click on the free download, and then it will be installed in your system. It will be downloaded to your system, and then you have to go ahead to install the Java JDK in your system, and I'll walk you through JDK. When it's downloaded, you will see something like this that says JDK. You wouldn't see this first site name, you just see JDK. So I'm going to go and install it. I've already installed Java JDK on my system, so I don't see the use of trying to install it over and over again. But for the sake of the class, just for better understanding, you see what I mean. So ensure before you go to download the netbeans, the first thing you have to do is to install your Java JDK on your system, because if you don't have the Java JDK, the netbeans would not install perfectly on your system. So as we wait for the JDK to load and to install, the next thing I want to show you is how you can be able to download the netbeans application. So go back online and type netbeans. So you see something that says NetBeans IDE download, and by the right you see things from JetBrains. But I want you to click on the one that says 8.8 there's 8.1, but here is 8.0. You can click on the one that says NetBeans IDE 8.0. Is a higher version of other NetBeans applications. But you can just search for the one that says 8.1. It's fine. Okay. So here you see the documentation, and by the right you see NetBeans 8.2. There's a NetBeans 8.2 release and NetBeans 8.1. So you can click on any of them based on your choice. Why that loads? Let me walk you through again. But the thing is, it will take time for you to install, so I wouldn't want to walk through that particular aspect. So the next thing I want you to understand is, um, so if you've clicked on your IDE 8.1, it's displayed here. Um, you can view the installation instruction, and then you can take the NetBeans 8.1 documentation libraries. It's your choice, or you can just click on the download button to just download the program. But I'm not going to be downloading this again. Just download it. That will not be something hard to do. If you don't really know how to do that, you can just go back online and check how to download NetBeans. But it's very easy. Just click on the download button and it downloads into your system. So the next thing you do while that is done, after that is done, is to check for. That's when you're done installing your JDK. Is to also install your NetBeans. It's gonna take time if I try to install the NetBeans right now. So all you have to do is just to install, click next and next and next. I accept the terms and conditions, and that's virtually all you have to do while installing your NetBeans. So when you're done installing your NetBeans, you're going to see something like this. So what you're going to do is just to launch it. But because my JDK is still being installed, I have to click on this to say allow all, so that it will see it as antivirus, will see it as a virus, and then chop up the important part that I need. Who wouldn't want that in our program, would we? So when you're done installing the JDK, you can go ahead to run your NetBeans programs if you're done installing the NetBeans. But I see that my JDK is still running, so I think we have to patiently wait for it to come up. Now, I want us to be able to run our NetBeans application, so I'm going to go ahead and open the NetBeans application. For now, you see, it says cannot locate Java installation specified JDK home. Do you want to try to use the default version? I can say yes if I want to, and then it says cannot find Java 1.7 or higher. And the reason why this error comes up is, like I told you, once you have your NetBeans installed and you don't have the JDK installed, your NetBeans is not going to run. So what I'm going to do is I have to wait for my JDK to actually load and then install in my system, because me clicking on the yes to continue the installation, I've override the previous installed JDK in my system. So be careful on the amount of times you try to install JDK. If you already have, you don't need to reinstall again. So because I have overridden the first one, I have to wait for this to install. You can actually use aside from the beans is something called an Eclipse. Eclipse is very nice to use while running your programs. It's very interesting to use, but I prefer we use the NetBeans, because Eclipse can come up with certain kind of errors that you have to really do fix every time, depending on the system you use. So I don't want you to really get into that kind of issue. But when you're very conversant with NetBeans, I think it's best to still go back and then check how Eclipse works, because you can actually do a lot of strong things with Eclipse and also create some Javadoc files easily with Eclipse. So now I'm going to click on next for my JDK. So it prompts me, it says development tools, source code, public JRE, of course. So I'm going to, and this is the installation part. So I can decide to change the installation part, but it's preferred for you to install it in your program files. So I'm going to click next. So now the process of installing is in progress. So I want to minimize my browser so that you see the site very much. So I think it's almost complete installing. But it has to do the first process, then go through the second process. So the status is almost complete. So it's trying to remove files that it doesn't need. See, one good thing with NetBeans is NetBeans automatically, if the JDK is stored in the program files, NetBeans automatically, and the NetBeans in the program files, NetBeans automatically fetch data from the JDK and set up an environment variable. So it saves you the time of doing that yourself. So if you are running your program if you are compiling your program with the CMD like I showed you earlier, you have to go ahead to you know compile your program yourself. But in this case, the NetBeans does that for you. So everything is actually simplified. It both compiles your program and interprets your programs. So we have to wait for a while for the new files to be copied as well. Um, so now it's extracting installer. All the components needed to run your program has to be extracted for you to use it well, because this is an IDE we're talking about. And so please, you can say allow all if you have an antivirus that wants to stop the program from working. So it's actually a long process trying to install the NetBeans. Sometimes it takes time. That's why it's advised for you sometimes to have at least system from 4 gig RAM higher, because NetBeans kind of occupies some amount of space, not too much, but it's actually advised. If you're having a 2 gig RAM system, you have to upgrade it to from 4 to 8. 8 is nice, 4 is still good. Yeah. Okay, so that is done. So the next thing it says we should do is actually to install the program. It's prompting if you should install the program on the program files inside Java, which that's the part that should be done. If you want to change it, you can change it from here, but I prefer installing it in the place I was told to install. Okay, so I cannot see the button that is here. That doesn't really come up right. So I'm going to just click the first one. Okay, destination folder. Okay, let me click the second one then, and then it continues the installation. I didn't see that right, but it's fine. So when that is done, it's going to prompt you for next steps. You don't really need to click next step because that's virtually going online, but just click on close. And now we're going to go back to run our IDE NetBeans to see the result. So it's opening up for us to start our new project. So you have to wait for it to index. Um, Still indexing. It has to build all the environment that is required. So this is an offline installer. You mustn't be online to do this. Alright. So don't be afraid. So you don't really have to do anything. Just wait for it to build. Um, just click on subscribe and you get more notification when there's update of new videos. Thank you very much and have a very pleasant day.